Good evening, candidates. This is Seekster from Arlington, Texas, and this question is for Ron Paul. Now, I've met a lot of your supporters online, but I've noticed that a good number of them seem to buy into this conspiracy theory regarding the Council of Foreign Relations and some plan to make a North American union by merging the United States with Canada and Mexico. These supporters of yours seem to think that you also believe in this theory. So my question to you is, do you really believe in all this, or are people just putting words in your mouth?
90 seconds.
Well, it all depends on what you mean by all of this. The CFR exists, the Trilateral Commission exists, and it's a, quote, conspiracy of ideas. This is an ideological battle. Some people believe in globalism. Others of us believe in national sovereignty. And there is a move on toward a North American Union, just like early on there was a move on for a European Union, and it eventually ended up. So we had NAFTA and moving toward a NAFTA highway. These are real things. It's not somebody made these up. It's not a conspiracy. They don't talk about it, and they might not admit about it, but there's been money spent on it. There was legislation passed in the Texas legislature unanimously to put a hold on it. They're planning on millions of acres taken by eminent domain for an international highway from Mexico to Canada, which is going to make the immigration problem that much worse. So it's not so much a secretive conspiracy. It's a contest between ideologies, whether we believe in our institutions here, our national sovereignty, our Constitution, or are we going to further move in the direction of international government, more UN. You know, this country goes to war under UN resolutions. I don't like big government in Washington. So I don't like this trend toward international government. We have a WTO that wants to control our drug industry, our nutritional products. So I'm against all that, but it's not so much as a sinister conspiracy. It's just knowledge is out there. If we look for it, you'll realize that our national sovereignty is under threat.
He thinks that it will be good for our country. I have no doubt. I'm not questioning his patriotism. I'm sure, no doubt, he believes that opening up some sort of borderless region on the North American continent between Mexico, the United States, and Canada will in some way benefit us because we'll have cheaper labor, we'll have natural resources, we will be able to withstand any competition. I'm sure that he thinks that's what's best for the United States. But you don't make decisions like that as an individual. You vent them through the democratic process. And I think that this idea of having open borders with Mexico would destroy the United States of America as we know it. You would not have the same United States of America.
I had planned another closing message, but I feel compelled to say what I'm about to say. Now, I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government. The combining of national governments started with the European Union. That union started with trade agreements, then a common currency, the euro, and now a European Parliament that is feverishly passing laws that override the laws of the member nations. A constitution was drafted but rejected by a few of those nations. But never mind. They implemented it anyway. Now it's North America's turn. Building on the North American Free Trade Agreement, the NAFTA section of the Commerce Department is busy drafting laws and regulations for a North American Union, a union of Canada, America, and Mexico. The President has attended secret meetings and signed at least 2 agreements under the Security and Prosperity Partnership Program. Information leaked out about the meetings, and now it is all in the open. No treaty has been signed, so Congress has not become involved. However, money from our Treasury is now being spent for this effort. We will have a new currency, the Amero, and a new constitution modeled on the Soviet Union's constitution. Our rights will not be inalienable, but they will be granted by government, who can also take them away. One sign that this is our future is the plans for the superhighways from southern Mexico through America and into Canada. These plans are not secret any longer. Huge amounts of property will be taken in the name of free trade, peace, and security. You will have a national ID card with a radio frequency chip in it. That's already law in America and will be implemented by May 2000. This man voted for it. You will not be able to move about freely. This is terrorism of the most worst kind, brought on you by our own government. The strongest, freest nation in the history of mankind will be averaged into world communism. Is that what you want? Are we the people still in control of this nation? We must begin to act like we are.
The Bush administration tonight is pushing, rather publicly now, its Security and Prosperity Partnership, a plan to, quote-unquote, integrate the economies of the United States, Mexico, and Canada by the year 2010. You're thinking, you didn't vote for that. Your congressman didn't vote for that. Your senator didn't vote for that. You're correct. It is a very ambitious plan for three very different economies and nations. It's moving forward without congressional oversight, in many cases congressional knowledge, and certainly not the approval of the American people.
Critics see stealthy changes taking place deep within government bureaucracies with input from business and academia, but away from lawmakers and voters.
All this is about is open borders. Open borders between Mexico and America, America and Canada. Open borders without any controls, and there's no telling what could happen to this country that would be detrimental to the future of America.
The SPP are aware that they've got a little bit of an image problem. Congressman Jones says he thinks that there's an image problem for a reason. He's written to the White House now twice about detailed questions about the SPP. He says he's been ignored on this.
Well, this White House is ignoring and has ignored Congress in nearly every instance in which it doesn't get a rubber stamp. The idea that Carlos Gutierrez, the Commerce Secretary, is talking about this in Mexico City and not addressing it publicly before Congress, the fact that all of these things are happening behind closed doors. I mean, why is there not some greater sense of what's going on the part of this government? Critics call the plan the North American Union, and many say that it would ultimately destroy U.S. sovereignty. Robert Pastor is a member of the group that wrote the original report. He joins us tonight. It is good to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Robert Pastor, you were co-chairman of an independent task force sponsored by the Council on Foreign Relations, and in this report titled Building a North American Community, the president of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haass, states, quote, "The task force's central recommendation is establishment by 2010 of a North American economic and security community, the boundaries of which would be defined by a common external tariff and an outer security perimeter." At this point, what is the basis for moving forward on that?
Well, the United States, Canada, and Mexico now are already the largest free trade area in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have $800 billion worth of trade. Mm-hmm. This is a source of comparative advantage for the United States, but the Council report feels that we could take greater advantage if we deepen economic integration, if we can secure ourselves better, mm-hmm. not only at our borders, but also by thinking about a continental security perimeter as well.
Why would you think about, just out of curiosity, a common security perimeter when the United States does not have secure ports, nor does it have anything approaching secure borders?
Well, it's precisely because our ports are not secure and our borders are not secure that we need to find not only better ways to do that, but also better ways to turn our two neighbors into partners to enhance our security and to enhance our prosperity as well.
And that can't be done with sovereign nations. There has to be integration of an economy, a customs union, if you will, and a common security perimeter?
I think the vision defined in that report is one of three sovereign nations cooperating with each other to deepen economic integration, to create a common external tariff, to improve our economies, and to secure ourselves better.
Let me ask you, the Banff meeting in September of last year, you were there, weren't you?
I was.
And representatives of all three governments, military, business, economic ministers, and commerce officials. Why was the press not permitted to be there?